AFC East. AFC East. Time to break it down. We broke down the AFC North already. Joe Burrow, king of the North. Josh Allen, king of the East. Let's break it all down and more. Take your phone calls. Maybe even get a draft in if we have time. We took us over an hour to do the North earlier tonight at 8 p.m. Go watch that show if you missed it. Now it's time to break down the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, the Jets, the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Fantasy Football Show Graveyard Shift, Graveyard After Dark, Midnight Eastern Show begins now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
We really got to get a Josh Allen video, like a standalone Josh Allen video. I don't know why we don't have one yet. You know, this may be a image of a refrigerator. Just kind of going down the street, knocking people over. Let's break down the AFC East, which I think will be an easier, quicker, well, no, maybe not. Might take longer. A lot of fantasy football players to talk about here. Let's swing straight over to the AFC East board, and let's just get right into it. Let's go straight into the Buffalo Bills. I don't want to go bottom to top. I want to go top to bottom. I think this is a team that no matter what they do, they're amazing. No matter what they do, they can win the division. Now, do they win a Super Bowl? No, they don't. They tend to break down. They tend not to have enough gas left in the tank, and they're probably going to do that again this year if they don't figure a few things out or have a few moments where they say, we've got to develop a guy like Keon Coleman, who I still believe in, but I don't know that they believe in him. Kincaid, I still believe in Kincaid, but I have almost zero beliefs that they believe in Kincaid. And James Cook, you know, I think Ray Davis and James Cook, between the two of them, will be fine. I just don't know if I believe in James Cook the way that some people do, because he had kind of an anomaly touchdown season that I think regression is fit for. Let's talk about record, and then we'll get into the player projections. For me, I think this team dominates the year. I think they do very well in the division. I think the Jets are definitely a team that could surprise and then do very badly. We thought they'd do good last year. They didn't. We think they'll probably do good this year. There's a very good chance that we're a little bit disappointed, I suppose. But I believe in Fields. I just don't know what this staff is going to do, if there's any sort of bumps in the road, how they're going to deploy him. How's Breece Hall going to be used? Will they screw and botch up using Breece Hall the way we would? You hear running back by committee talk. Everybody gets afraid. Breece Hall's value drops. He's going at 4.1 in fantasy football drafts right now. 4.1 for a guy that could be a top 5 running back. And I'll get into why I think it's a ridiculous thought process to be like, hey, Jake says Smitty, Super Bowl. Jets make the Super Bowl, and he's getting a Smitty. Get a Super Bowl. Smitty gets, let's see, Jets Super Bowl. Smitty gets my pick and my tramp. You're getting a tramp stamp of Smitty on your back if they win the Super Bowl, is what we said, Jake. So get ready, get all dolled up. Anyway, back on point. Thank you for the super chat, Jake. And we'll break this down by record first, then we'll get into the fantasy football projections. Or we'll do record, then projections, record projections like we did the last show. I'm going to give this regular season monster of a team a 13-4 record. I think they easily win the division. By easily, I mean by like 2 or 3 games. I think this is going to be something we consider in the final weeks of the season when they're trying to rest up and get ready. Maybe it affects week 17 a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to kind of play it out. But I think that 13-4 is probably going to be the record that the Bills bring home in 2025. I think when we look at the numbers and how this, looks on paper, or AKA the board, this is the project, or these are the stats that all three of Cook, Shakir, and Allen had in 2024. So we're going to tweak these. 37-31. Honestly, he's done a lot better than this. 37-31 is kind of a light day at the office in 2024. For the quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and say Josh Allen has, who he has had in previous seasons, 43-06, 43-16, 44-07, 45-44. This is an anomaly year. I think he has let's give it at least 4,300 yards. I mean, he had 4 straight seasons prior to this year with at least 4,300 yards. So 4,300 yards feels like a baseline, to be honest with you. 28 TDs in 2024. He had 29 the previous year, 35, 36, 37. So dare I say 34 TDs? And you might ask, like, how? If they didn't add really any weapons, but we'll get into Shakir. We'll get into the development of Keon Coleman. We'll get into, what other moves they can make. Could they make a trade midseason? Hard to say, but 34 TDs. Like, I'm already giving this man an upgrade. But to be honest, he was QB number 4 last year. So it's kind of fitting if we think he's QB1 capable, which he of course is, that he gets an upgrade. 12 INTs last year. Let's just leave. I'm sorry, 6 INTs last year. Let's make that 7. 7 or 8. He's careful with the ball, but he's also reckless at the same time. Let's give him 8 INTs. That's fine. Rushing touchdowns. Man, I mean, Josh Allen's rushing touchdown track record is phenomenal. Just unreal. 15 TDs in 2023, 12 TDs last year. His whole career, he's 8, 9, 8, 6, 7, 15, 12. I think 11 to 10 is very suitable. I'm going to say 11. 11 rushing touchdowns, 34 passing, 8 INTs, 4,300 yards, and his rushing numbers, he's had 631 his rookie year, 510, 421, 763, 776, and then 2 most recent years, 524, 531. The fact that he's had 700-yard seasons and then back-to-back 500, I think 500 is a lock. I think let's give him, I'm going to say 600. This puts him at QB1 or 2. QB1, 2, at least 3. QB1. We had Burrow in QB3. Maybe Burrow gets knocked to 4 by the time we get to JD5 and all that. Although, I think it could be Josh Allen, JD5, and Burrow 1, 2, 3. It's very possible. I'm not saying Lamar can't get there, but you saw my Lamar projections. If you missed my Lamar and Burrow and Steeler projections and the whole shebang, the Browns projections, go watch the AFC North video and get your taste of the AFC North projections and predictions for win-losses. But this is going to be a QB1, 2, or 3 season out of Josh Allen. Just plain and simple. Look at these numbers. These numbers are going to be phenomenal. This is going to carry you. In hindsight, Josh Allen will be one of, if not the very best third-round pick you can have. Early quarterback Josh Allen is always a good way to go. Don't ever second guess Josh Allen. Shakir last year had 76, 821, and 4. Josh Allen's going to have this kind of line. He's going to have to lean on somebody. I'd say 80. I'm not even the biggest Shakir fan, but I think this is easily doable. 80, 10, 10. And let's give him 6. That's actually pretty good. That's my unbiased. I don't even like Shakir, and I'm starting to think maybe I'm undervaluing him a little bit. I think this is possible. I mean, 990 is possible. 80, 110, and 6 is probably what's in the cards for him. James Cook had 16 TDs. There's no way he replicates that. This guy couldn't get more than 3 or 4 prior to this year. So I'm thinking like a 6 touchdown. I know it seems like a big downgrade, but it was an astronomical number to climb to, and it's an anomaly. It's an anomaly. There's nothing good coming from your expectation that he's a consistent double-digit rushing touchdown rusher in the National Football League. He's gone down in statistics each year other than the touchdowns. So I think this is a year he either gets injured. He's in holdout mode right now. Holdouts lead to injuries, specifically with running backs and wide receivers, because of what I explained earlier, that you're driving in a car, okay? You're driving in a car. Let's put James Cook on screen as we talk about James Cook. You're driving in a car, and your Aunt Edna's driving, and she's hitting all kinds of speed bumps. And you're just bouncing around all over the place as Aunt Edna is just recklessly driving through the city. And you're getting car sick. Aunt Edna's not. It's not because Aunt Edna has a steel stomach or a steel brain. She is holding onto the steering wheel. Just like if you were driving, you wouldn't get car sick as you hold onto the wheel, brace yourself with the bumps. But you're bouncing all around because Aunt Edna can't drive, and you're in the passenger seat. When you're a running back or a wide receiver, you're running through a territory where you're getting hit left and right. Your body's firing off in different directions. Your Achilles is tightening up. Then you're twisting your ankle. Then your calf and your hamstrings firing off in the middle of a step. And there's reasons to tear things. There's reasons to strain things. This is why hamstring injuries and groin injuries and quad injuries and calf injuries occur with players that hold out, especially groin and hamstring, because their body is not ready. And this is the one position, running back specifically and wide receiver next, that can't take time off and just get thrown to the wolves. So if James Cook, now maybe James Cook comes back in July, and then we'll have a conversation about how bad that can be. Maybe James Cook will be fine. But any way you twist this or try and explain it to me, it doesn't change the fact that he had an anomaly season in the best of conditions. And that Ray Davis, who is one of our midseason monsters, he's going to rise up as is Charbonnet, as is Mason, as is Milton, Jordan James and Garendo together. This is the new Mason and Garendo. Ray Davis, Bigsby Tootin, these are the midseason monsters, but Ray Davis is one of them, and for a damn good reason, because he looks really good. He looks the part. He's a grinded out between the tackles running back. They drafted him for a reason. And I think that this could be one of the bigger sleepers in 2025 from the very late, almost garbage, rags to riches territory. And James Cook is one of the biggest avoids. He is actually a planet Uranus man.
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.
These are gentlemen that I wouldn't draft and say, oh, well, you can sell him high. Like Derrick Henry is not a complete avoid. Derrick Henry's you draft him and then you sell him after a month of football. These gentlemen, Cook, Hill, and CMC, I don't even know if you'll have the opportunity to sell them if they don't play well in week one, or if they get hurt before week one, or if they struggle and then get hurt. So Cook is a total no-go for me because his expectation is to the moon. 6 TDs, that's my expectation on the ground. 1 receiving touchdown. Let's call this, 21 receptions for 139 and 1 TD. Arbitrary numbers. I'm just throwing stuff at the wall, but it feels good. I've done this for a while. This is my 24th or whatever professional year doing this. So there's a little bit of a vibe here. Smitty's bringing the aura. Okay. Rushing touchdowns. We have 1. Rushing yards. I'm going to go with 990. I'm going to say this is a really disappointing year. I'm going to say that Ray Davis rises up and cooks.
Let him cook.
You know who's not going to like that? James Cook owners. You know who's going to come in and say that's ridiculous? James Cook owners. Be careful. Just like when you're reading a review on Amazon and it's like, this is a 5-star product. This is a 5-star. 5 stars out of 5 stars. 5 stars out of 5 stars. Amazing. My Aunt Edna got me this. It's fantastic. This is great. This is amazing. And you like it. You're like, these reviews are amazing. And there's one review. Just like there's one negative Noah in the comments saying, yeah, this guy's crazy. There's one review. It says, this caused a fire in my kitchen. And you're out. Oh, whoa. We're done. I don't care how many reviews you got. This one bad apple. You don't even know if he's telling the truth. It could be a competitor. The competitor product probably left a review and said this thing caused a fire. It might be an apple. It can't cause a fire. But you still read it and you go, nope.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
Be very careful of what a James Cook owner makes you feel when they're in their feelings and they don't like what I just said. We've got Keon Coleman. I'm going to say something like, I don't know, Keon Coleman's stats from last year. Let's just take a gander at what he did. Keon Coleman. Sum total. He brought in after, quite a disappointing string of games and just, there was some injury. There was a lot of reasons to be disappointed in what Keon Coleman put together and what product he delivered, but a lot of it wasn't necessarily his fault even. It's just they slow rolled him out. 29 receptions, 556 and 4 TDs. He's still got tons of upside. Am I all in? No, but Am I pausing? Yes, because we saw him ruin Kincaid in Buffalo. Part of it, Josh Allen, just not laser locking on him. Similar to how Jordan Love doesn't laser lock on somebody. But Josh Allen is different than Love because he scores so many points all by himself. So it doesn't matter. Josh Allen's a freaking monster. There he is right there. Josh Allen to mother freaking Jupiter every year.
To Jupiter.
But doesn't change the fact that Keon Coleman drops these numbers and disappoints us. But there's hope for him. I'd say like give him 805, maybe like 55 receptions. I think that's acceptable. Kincaid, I'm not even sure that I'm even investing in any other parts of this offense. The man I just told you is going to have 4,300 yards, 34 TDs. And I don't want you investing in anybody but really Ray Davis cheap, a little bit of Keon Coleman late in the draft, and Shakir. Like, I don't know where it's going to go, but he's going to do it. And he's going to spread it around. I do think we need to monitor this situation in a crazy fashion and just say to ourselves, like, we have to be vigilant. Is it Elijah Moore? Is it Hamler? Is it going to be one of those guys? It's hard to say. Is it going to be, I mean, isn't Joshua Palmer on this team? Last I checked, there's so many players that we got to just kind of feel it out. Is Palmer still on the team? I don't even know. Is he even in the league? So we'll break down more. I don't feel comfortable giving you projections for players when we don't even know the pecking order. And I honestly don't even feel like there's a lot of no Kincaid right now, bro. It's not his fault, Bruce. It is what it is. You heard me what I just said, Bruce. They can't throw to him. They don't choose to identify him as a must-serve client of Josh Allen's production. And it's very frustrating. If we go back over to the board, AFC East board, and we say, let's go digging into the New York Jets and see, is this a team that's wild card capable because the Bills are going to win the division? We went over the AFC North already. King of the North is Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and you got the Ravens right there, right? At 10 wins or 11 wins. And again, I said this earlier, if my life was on the line and you told me I couldn't pick 11, I'd have to pick 10 or 13 or 10 or 12. I would pick 10 before I would pick the 12 wins for the Ravens, because I feel like things are going to maybe break. Whether it's temporarily and just a little lull of action, that it doesn't go the way the Ravens want it, and it brings them to this record, and they fight, and they get back in the 11-win territory. Very possible. No one's saying the Ravens bust, but I don't think they win the division. So they must vie and fight for one of the three very rare and hard to get wild card spots outside of the 4 division winners. So the Ravens are grabbing the top wild card spot, which means there are only 2 left. That means that if you don't win your division, you've got 2 shots to get into the playoffs. And if we go back over to the East, let's see if the New York Jets are going to have a record that is worthy of potentially fighting for said 2nd or 3rd wild card spot. New York Jets are going to have a decent year, but there are going to be some learning situations and some growing pains. I think it's going to be a discrepancy that's not capable of being, rectified between the Bills record and the Jets. So this could be smooth sailing at the end of the year for the Bills, and this could be something we concern ourselves with in the Week 17 territories, especially Week 18 if you do any sort of drafts. First of all, before the season starts, if you play Week 18, what are you doing? What are you doing? Switch it now. I'm telling you right now, Josh Allen might not even be relevant in Week 17 as much as we want. Could sit a half or something, and you're going to play Week 18 when he might not even be on the field. That's craziness. Look at the divisions, and that can affect. If you play Week 18, you need to strongly consider the divisions, because you can kind of predict what teams might be sitting in Week 18. It's just dumb to play Week 18. It's ridiculous. And for those people that say, yeah, I forgot, or yeah, didn't have the conversation, year after year after year, you just meander on through life and don't decide to put up a stink or a fuss to get your league to change out of Week 18. It's just ridiculous to me. Jets 10-7. 10-7, some struggle bus games. Justin Fields has a really good year. Justin Fields flirts with top 8 to 12 quarterback numbers all year. And let's start breaking down the New York Jet football team from a statistical fantasy football projection level. And let's start off with Justin Fields. And I don't know where to go on this one other than to kind of dance around his previous year totals and massage them into place. And I think that's the best way to attack this anyway. Justin Fields was QB 34, but that's not even fair to talk about because he didn't play but the 6 games. He was 4-2. Fields was fantastic during his 4-2 stretch. Ended the year with confidence. And the one thing that makes me so excited about Fields is he didn't fail. So in a normal situation, this man's bounced around. Nobody believes in him. He's on his 3rd team. Not really the case. That story that that description didn't do him service or justice. He literally was 4-2 last year. And Russell Wilson sucked. And so he leaves with confidence. He just leaves with a little bit of, shall you say, almost divorce syndrome. He's a little bit untrusting of his situation maybe, but he believes in himself and he delivered. Justin Fields in previous seasons, you look at his time in Chicago, which he played 3 years in Chicago and then played in Pittsburgh in 2024. So he's played in 2 homes. He's going into his 3rd situation. The man has rushed for his rookie year 420 yards, his 2nd year 1143, and 657 in 2023, and then 289 last year, but 289 on, let's just extrapolate this anyway, 289 divided by 6 games, because he's 4-2. Let's see, 289 divided by 6 is 48, and then multiply that by 17. That is 818. So he was on pace for 818. We'll just call it 800 yards, give or take, but 800 yards. So he's on pace for, I mean, you got to look at this and say there's probably no way he's running for 420. He's running probably not for 1143. I would say between 800 and 400. So that puts him around the 650. Let's just call it 670 yards rushing. That is a very understandable, very generous number, but not too generous at all. So you got that. Rushing TDs 5, 4, 8, 2. Let's give him 5 rushing TDs. That seems very reasonable. Right there, all in itself, that puts this man in the 8 to 12 quarterback conversation. 670 and 5. That is a plethora of fantasy football points out the gate. So you Fields doubters are not looking at this thing from a good perspective. I'll tell you that right now. 18. Okay, so let's go through his yardage. Rookie year, 1870 passing, 2242, 2562, 1106. But again, 1106 divided by 6 games is 184 times 17. So that is 3133, which is surprising. That is surprising. Now he did play other times, but it wasn't like a lot of work, so it wasn't like he started. So this is I would say, looking at this, I don't think he's a 5,000 yard passer. I'm not an idiot. I don't even think he's a 4,000 yard passer, but he doesn't really need to be. I think, you know, we look at something like, I don't know, Jalen Hurts was 2,900 yards. So give him 3,100 yards passing. I think he throws more than Jalen Hurts. This is a quarterback that turned DJ Moore into a top 5 to 7 wide receiver. 3,100 passing yards. Yeah, whoops, I already wrote that. What did I erase just now? Okay, 3,100 passing yards. INTs, he protects the ball very well. He protects the ball very well. Keep in mind that his breakaway rushing 1143 and 8 touchdown season on the ground, the year that Ryan Poles should have got fired immediately when he stripped the entire meat off the bone and made this guy play with janitors as wide receivers. He had no one to throw to. He had 11 INTs that year. That's it. He's had 1 INT. So last year, protected the ball very well. 1 INT in his 6 games. 1 divided by 6 is 0.16 times 17. He was on pace for 2.83 INTs last year. 1 INT last year. Let's give him something in the middle. Let's give him something like 9 INTs or 8 INTs, because he literally protects the ball very well, despite what some people say about him. 8 INTs, not a big deal. Passing yards 3,100. Passing touchdowns for him, 7 his rookie year, 17, 16, and 5. Let's take that 5 from last year. 5 divided by 6 games is 0.83 times 17. That is 14. Not a good number. They took the playbook away from him. You know, he was literally regulated to just running the ball and doing some certain things that they wanted him to do. And even Ben Roethlisberger came out and said that they held him back. They held him back. They did not give him free reign. They pulled the reins back on Fields. This is what Ben Roethlisberger said. I think it would be smart to say that he doesn't have 30 TDs, right? But I don't know. I look at these 16 and 17 touchdown seasons in Chicago, and it was a much different situation. I think something like 20, 22 is not crazy. I mean, you could say 18 or 16. I'm not. I'm going to say 20. I'm going to say 21 TDs passing. 21 TDs, 3,100 passing, 8 INTs. Not remarkable numbers right here until you add on this rushing. Look, it's a top 10 to 12 quarterback, give or take, spitballing it. And these could be off. He could be 27 touchdowns. Anybody that thinks that he can't develop, finally can't have 27 touchdowns, he could easily have 27 touchdowns. I'm just going to be safe. I'm going to call it 23, actually. 23. Look, this is a totally different situation than Chicago. I'm calling it 20. I'm calling it 24. I'm calling it 24. This feels too low. There's no reason, just because he's been 16 and 17 in Chicago, doesn't mean he gets a little uptick. Let's give him respect. 24 passing TDs, 8 INTs, 3,100 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, 670. This is a guy that scores roughly 29, 30 TDs. And Travis is right. He could have, even if he has 22 here, he could have 10 rushing touchdowns. I'm lowballing this 5. I'm lowballing it. Let's give him 8. 8 TDs, 22, 30. Either way you look at it, 22 passing, 8 rushing, 5 rushing, or give him 25 passing. He gets you 29, 30 total TDs. In fact, let's make it very simple and say, is this too confusing? People getting upset? 29 to 30 total TDs for Justin Fields. I like this. And this gets him to 10 wins in 2025. Looking at the AFC East, 10 wins, 7 losses. Jets also have a man that we love here on this channel. A man that goes by the name Breece Hall. And he is, how tall is he? How tall?
Get Breece.
How tall is he?
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's
You know what I love?
Breece.
You know what I love about that is in the third, don't stall. remember, it's kind of like you have the mullet. The mullet goes out of style. You never cut it though. You're totally out of date. You keep the mullet. The mullet comes back. You're walking into a store and someone goes, "Bro, nice mullet. How long did it take you to grow that since the new fad came in?" And you end up saying, "I never cut it." And it's like Breece Hall. He was a third in the third don't stall as a rookie, whatever. And then he becomes a top 5 overall pick. And then we play the video and people are like, the third don't stall, the third round. He's a top 5 pick, Smitty. And now he's going in 4.1. Breece Hall's now a mullet. I don't even know if that makes sense, but to me it does. He's 4.1 in the third don't stall. The video doesn't even work, but in the wrong direction now. We're getting him in steal territory. Breece Hall at 4.1 makes no sense. Because if he is who we think he is, he's a top 5 running back. If he isn't who we think he is, then he's still getting you 4.1 value with ease. This is craziness. And if we look at Breece Hall's 2024 season, the man had 876 6 yards and 5 TDs. Wasn't the best year for him, but he did pull in a whopping 57 receptions for 483 and what was this? 3 TDs. So he had an 8 touchdown season. That is actually really good. 876 plus 5 plus what was it? 876 plus 483 is, whoa. I don't know what's going on with my calculator today. 1,359 yards and 8 touchdowns and 57 receptions. Why are people upset about that? I keep seeing a lot of people be like, he's very, 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 very disappointing season. I know he finished as running back 17, and really it's kind of shocking that 1,359 yards, 8 TDs, and 57 receptions. It's hard to believe that this is running back 17. Now, it was a really close group all the way up. I mean, I'm talking like Chase Brown, 253 points, Breece Hall, 234. So I think that's where some of the discrepancy lies, is that this was, that's bold, says Sim. What's bold? Maybe somebody said something. It wasn't anything I predicted yet because these are last year's stats. 1,359, 8 TDs, unbelievable. But again, kind of an anomaly year in terms of how tight the top 8 to 18 were. They're within 20 points. I think this year, let's see if we can get bigger than this number without being biased. I think Breece Hall probably runs for 1,000 even. Let's give him that famous 10-10 line that I love to give to players. Let's give him 6 TDs on the ground. Let's give him, and here's something I want to make abundantly clear. While Breece Hall had only 57, very nice number, 57 receptions, he had horrible quarterback play. Do you know how many targets he had? 76 targets. He only caught 57, not because he can't catch. He can catch very well. 57 catches, but he had 76 targets. That means, not saying he catches every ball, but that means in a much lesser offense, he had the potential to catch 76 passes. I believe in a better offense, his targets could go up, especially Fields. Does anybody know that Fields was one of the best quarterbacks checking down to his running back last year? One of the very best. So when I hear people say Fields is bad because he runs, Fields checked down to his quarterback like nobody's business last year. And he's got a habit of doing so. Anybody remember back when he was supposed to blow up in Chicago? It was the year. It was finally going to be the year. What happened in the preseason? 2 passes, screen passes to his running back. The only 2 plays he really had in the entire preseason. It was one to DJ Moore and one to, I believe it was, what running back was it? I forget what running back it was. It was a screen pass. It was to Herbert. So one to Herbert, one to DJ Moore. They were both 50-plus yard screen passes. Both took it to the house. So he does check down quite a bit. So 76 targets for Breece Hall, probably going up, and the conversion of this is going to be a lot better. That's a smiley face right there. That is going to be, I'm going to say that Breece Hall catches in this offense, so 10-10 rushing, 6 TDs. I'm going to say 70 passes this year. He gets way more than the 76 targets, 70 passes, and let's call this 550. Let's say that it's not even 580, 590. We'll give him the 3 TDs, 9 total touchdowns, 70 receptions, 10-10 on the ground. That's a good outing. Even 10 touchdowns, 4 TDs receiving, 597. This is a top 10 running back. This is a top 10 running back. It may not be number 1. It may not be number 2. It may not be number 5, but you're not paying that value. You're getting a top 10 running back at 4.1, and he's blowing these numbers out of the water. This is nearly 1,600 yards, 70 receptions instead of 57, and 10 touchdowns instead of 8. Breece Hall's doing it, and he's doing it live.
You've just been Smitty approved.
G. Willie. Love G. Willie. G. Willie has been one of the most productive wide receivers on the DL since he's entered the league. And it's kind of crazy when you think about it. The man has never missed a game. The man has had targets above 147 every single season. The man has had 95 and 101, and he had 83 his rookie year in back-to-back years. The man has had 1,000 yards receiving in all 3 of his seasons. The man has had, unfortunately, some bad touchdown production for really, I mean, he had 7 TDs last year, but for all 3 seasons, but has not had a quarterback, which explains the touchdowns, which explains not the fact, like, this is what you got to take away from this. Even in harsh times, in dire straits, he finds a way to get open, and even bad quarterbacks in a bad offense with a bad head coach, he finds a way to get the ball. He makes his own plays. He makes his own way. The problem is he's not taking things 70 and 80 yards down the field. When the Jets don't live at or around the red zone or the goal line, he can only do so much. And when the field gets smaller as you get closer to the end zone, it makes it harder on the offense that can't throw the damn ball. So everything's explainable, but everything's explainable. The touchdowns are explainable, and so you gotta ask yourself, what's this gonna look like for him? In 2024, he had 101 receptions. I think he has 110. We won't even give him that much of an uptick. 1,104 yards last year. 1170. I'm not doing much at all. This is rinse and repeat. You could even put it at 103 and 1104. I don't even care. He doesn't need to improve any of those. Those are things he's doing no matter what, because he's so good at getting open. Difference between like an MHJ and a Garrett Wilson. Not to say MHJ is not going to be better than Garrett Wilson this year, or that they can't be. They're just very different. MHJ needs the damn ball delivered to him a specific way, because he's not a creator like Garrett Wilson is, like Neighbors is, like JJ is. Garrett Wilson is proving with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in all 3 of his college seasons. Only played, or college, NFL seasons, only played 3 seasons. He's proven how good he is. I'm going to say touchdowns. 10 to 12. Little bit of play here. Little bit of play to potentially say Fields does have to take a big step forward. And if he does, he's going to do better. I'd even say this goes to like 1250 if Fields steps up. So Fields steps up, it's this number and it's this number. If Fields doesn't step up, he's still getting this, and he probably still gets this. And I'm not even saying Fields like bust or anything. I'm saying he doesn't deliver quite as much as we would hope. We got other players to talk about. You got the rookie tight end, call it 504 touchdowns. You've got Braylon Allen. I think Braylon Allen, you could give a 450 yard total, 4 TDs. It's all doable, but I think it does run through Breece Hall. I know everyone's scared of a committee, but what you got to understand with Breece Hall is that if he's getting barely 1,000 yards and the Jets run 480 times, they'll be one of the heaviest run units in the game, let alone in their conference. They'll be one of the heaviest running attack teams in the league. Even if you give them a low ball number like 450, if Breece Hall's running, what do we get Breece Hall? 1,000, a 1010 divided by 4.7, because they'll have more room to run, because there'll be less stacked boxes, because someone's spying Justin Fields constantly. So there's more gaps and spaces for Breece Hall to navigate through. Breece Hall's slipping through everything. He's playing Frogger out there with everybody, and no one can touch him because he's got this much room on each side. Abnormally, space everywhere. He's not used to it. The defense is spread out like crazy. Fields is keeping everybody honest. So 4.7 yards per carry, that is 214 attempts. And this is why some of you went to college, let's do the math together. 450 attempts, which is a very generous number. and we subtract his 215 or 217 or 213, whatever, we have 235 extra carries. 230 to 235 extra carries that need to go somewhere. So when a head coach says, hey, we have a bunch of backs and we got to run them all, they need somebody to run more than Breece Hall is running all by himself. Breece Hall's running 215 times, let's say. They can't even have a running back run at 215. They need someone to run at 230. So that's probably going to take 2 running backs. So understand, maybe Braylon Allen has something like 650. And that doesn't even hamper Breece Hall. But when people say it's a committee, use your brain. Use your brain. 215 carries, there are a surplus. Braylon Allen could have, off of 170 carries, let's say Braylon Allen has, 170 times, I don't know, 4.4 is 748. You could have Braylon Allen in the 700 plus range and 5 to 6 TDs without touching Breece Hall's workload. Where you want Breece Hall effective is catching the ball. Fields to the moon. Jets are going to look good. They're going to not be quite, it's going to be, to some degree, it's going to be a hit and miss, affair. Jets 10-7. Let's go. Now we get to the Dolphins, who there are a lot of players to discuss here. I might try and speed through this a little bit quicker. I'm going to say this team is capable. Whoa. I just took away the Jets' hard-earned 10-7 wins. Here, let's do this. They could easily have 10 wins. Just when I look at this division, I do see 2 teams here, and the Patriots aren't one of them, by the way, that are loaded with upside, but also failed us for a couple years, and there's reasons to think that at least one of the Jets or Dolphins might not deliver upon expectation. Doesn't mean that Achane can't ball out. It does kind of depress me a little bit thinking about Achane fighting for nothing at the end of the year, but sometimes that leads to a great fantasy football outing. A great fantasy football season. You think of Neighbors last year's fighting for nothing. He was doing great. This happens. Justin Jefferson would do that. There's a lot of teams and players that they fight that way, but it is hard to think about. You're like, oh man, 9-8. That makes me not want to draft a Dolphin player, but they could have 10 wins. They could be fighting for a wild card spot up until the very end. 10 wins is not out of the question. This is just me packaging and not making everybody a double-digit win team. And the one team out of the 2, or I wouldn't even be surprised if the Patriots climbed up to 3, or if things went astray, and let's say Fields got hurt or the Jets just couldn't develop him. I could see New England climbing up to like 8-9 wins or something, and the Jets and the Dolphins both like at 7 or something like that. I don't think the Patriots are going to be in wild card contention, but I'm just merely saying that these 2 teams have failed us, and there's a world where they fail. I don't know if that I trust Miami Mike McDaniel. I think maybe he gets fired after this season if he doesn't turn things around. I think, bringing in Bobby Sloak was a good move. Bobby Sloak was the offensive coordinator over in Houston, who was the scapegoat last year when they fired him when Stroud unraveled. But Bobby Sloak is the one that developed and helped develop Stroud into a great rookie quarterback. And so he was the scapegoat. I love that they brought him in. He's a good offensive mind. He's great with quarterbacks. I think the Dolphins got a good guy in Ewers that is pretty decent, but I think they crapped the bed in not taking Shador. I think they should have grabbed Milroe. There's a lot of things that the Miami Mike continues to fail at. You give me this team, I would have brought you a championship within 2 years. You give me the speed that this guy had. Miami Mike is a good scheme artist, but he's a horrible head coach. He really is. He doesn't know how to manage the clock. Talked about bringing somebody in to help him manage the clock in time. Like, how do you not know how to manage the clock? And he's even brought up in weird. It's good that he's open-minded, but it doesn't instill confidence when they say, reporters says, have you thought about having somebody else call plays? And, after his debacle first year, he's like, I'm going to look at everything. Instead of being like, no, I have confidence in myself. We didn't deliver, and we're going to go out there and do it. I wouldn't be in the position I'm in if I didn't think I couldn't do it and do it better than anybody. That's what his attitude should be. That's like when someone comes up to me and says, Smitty, you think you know more than the scouts or the GMs or the teams? Yes, I arrogantly do. Or I wouldn't be the arrogant prick that I am. Of course I think I'm better at this than the GMs and scouts. What do you think I am? You think I come out here? You think I have any business coming out here and giving you guys advice if I don't feel confident in myself? What kind of person would I be to unravel in front of you and say, hey, I'm not very good? I mean, what do I know? You see some of the Mickey Mouse people do that. They're like, hey, what do I know? I'm no expert, but my humble opinion, look, this is what we do. It's why we do it. If you gave me the Dolphins even right now, I could turn this shit around like that. I would have drafted Shedeur and Milroe, a double stamp, a triple stamp. I would have probably drafted Milroe and Shedeur and said, Tua, I got two people hot on your trail. Because that's the main negative that is here in this offense is if Tua goes down or struggles, nothing works. It's like not having a spare tire and you take a vehicle out that's very prone to popping a tire and you can win the race. You got a great engine. You're as quick as anybody. The vehicle itself is sound. You got oil. You got everything going for you. You got aerodynamics. You got good tunes in the car. You're ready to roll. You got one of those amazing steering wheels with spikes on it. You're ready to rumble. But you don't go into the race with a spare tire, even though you keep getting flats every other day. Mike should be fired. I should be hired, and I would have drafted quarterbacks galore. It's ridiculous. So 9-8 is because I don't believe they have a backup plan for the backup plan. And I don't know if yours can do it as a rookie. I will say this, though. Again, not to put too much of a damper on this thing from a fantasy football perspective. We've seen crazier things happen. Let's throw a little Achane projection on the board here. And let's start cooking because Achane had a phenomenal year. He was running back 5. You know how much crap he took? You know how much crap Achane took all year long? He's so bad without Tua. How'd he finish running back 5? Does anybody know? I know because he absolutely cooked.
Let him cook.
Let me get these super chats out of the way real quick. Jake says, Smitty is 100% better than my entire front office. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you. Jake to the moon. What else we got here? We got a couple super chats. Rico, $5 hauler, 12 team dynasty. I get 1.1, 2.1 Monty for my Caleb, Barkley, and JMO and 2.8. Did I give up too much? Love the show. Best on the net. To the moonshot. Appreciate you. Thank you for the advice. I love it. Here's a moonshot for you.
To the moon.
Where were we at? I forget where I put your question. Let me pull it over here again. Genty, 2.1 Monty for Caleb. I mean, it depends on, if it's super flex, it depends on your quarterback, my boy. It really does. I'd have to know a little bit more about that, but I'd say I'm not a big fan of Caleb anyway, so 1.1. Give me Genty. Barkley's older. JMO, there's questions in his own locker room whether they think he's going to crash out or something at some point. Even though the JMO owners don't understand that, they don't want to accept that. They don't want to accept any risk at all. If this is a super flex, it's complicated, but I still do it. And if it's not a super flex, it's not even a question. No matter what, either way you look at it, bro, you smash the Ashton Genty, and I say it's fantastic.
Hey, I'm Dom, and I drive fast cars, get hot chicks, and draft Ashton Genty double fist style with 2 cell phones at the same time. Why do I have 2 cell phones? One for looking up Ashton Genty stats all day, the other is for getting chicks.
So, I would say this right here. Yeah, so smash on that. This other question here, thank you for the super chat. Saying we're good on CMC since neither ACL works. saying we're good on CMC. I don't know what this means, Jake. Saying we're good on CMC, question mark, since neither ACL works. He doesn't have an ACL issue. He had a PCL injury last year, but that probably is better now, but there's still concerns, and I can go over that later, but there's still concerns about that. But why does he continue to have knee injuries, for one? You know, what kind of tightness is there with the joints? Has he stretched out the MCL? Has he stretched out the PCL? Like, what kind of, you know, issues why does he keep having knee injuries, or is it just wear and tear? And the wear and tear eventually going to lead to some other knee injury. Knee injury is very likely for him, just because he's older and his knees taking so much abuse, something's gonna give way. It's just the nature of a running back that runs as hard as he does. But he has bilateral Achilles tendonitis that's chronic. It's not ACL. Maybe I misunderstood the question. Hope, man, if the Jets are watchable, I'll cry. The Jets will be fine. They'll be watchable. It'll be a fun year. I don't know that you win the Super Bowl, but you're definitely going to have an exciting team for sure, bro. Genty to the moon. Achan, running back 5 for all the... There's the question. Running back 5 for all the people that complained about him all year long. Look, if you're seeing me take some heat, first of all, I appreciate everybody that always supports me and everything, but, you know, even I don't care about, you know, a hater in the chat. I don't even need protection from it. You don't have to worry. I always love seeing people defend your boy, but you know how many times people came at me in the chat? Remember Achan? Remember that? Some guy said, "Don't stop saying Achan. Like, don't say Achan's name again in the show." And I said, "You don't tell me what to do." And I wrote Achan 1,800 times in a row and said Achan 1,800 times. I think it was 1,800, 1,400, 1,800, something like that. And I didn't stop until the whole board was covered with little, and I started writing smaller and smaller. You don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me anything. And Achan delivered, and we've been right about Achan. We've been right about Kyron. We've been right about Bucky. We've been right about all the players people love to doubt because they missed it, and the psychology behind it is you don't want to admit your fault, so you just double down like Donnie and say things like, well, he's eventually going to get hurt. You just can't wait to have your old self proven right, so you keep doubling down. That's not smart. Adjust and adapt. Adjust and react. That's how you dominate fantasy. You don't worry about misses. You adjust and adapt. And if you want to continue to act like Achan can't be a top 5 running back, that's on you, not me, and I don't care. Majority of everybody in here understands what time it is with Achan. And what time it is with Achan is 907 last year, 592 receiving. Achan had 6 receiving touchdowns and 6 rushing touchdowns. So his TDs were through the roof, 12 total. And his receptions were, how many receptions did he have? It had 203 attempts, receptions 78. Jeez. What a season. What a season for the kid. 907 plus 592, 1499. 1499 total yards, 12 TDs, 78 receptions. Good Lord. What a season.
Mashed potatoes!
Are those numbers right?
Yeah, buddy.
Are those numbers right? Unbelievable season there. Is that right for the kid? 6 touchdowns, 12. 78 receptions, 592 receiving, and 907 right. Yeah, 61% snap share. Wow, unreal for the man. I look, it's hard to predict better numbers than this. I think we rinse and repeat. We rinse and repeat. Top 5 numbers. I don't need to rewrite a single thing on the board.
Let him cook.
Next, I don't need to rewrite a single thing. It's beautiful. It looks beautiful. Beautiful. All right, Tyreek Hill. Wow, I don't even know where to go here. I really don't. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here, and I'm gonna be completely honest, like I always am. He was wide receiver 18 last year. Okay. He had a wild season. He's played 9 years. This is year 10. He's 31 years old. He said he was going to retire at 30, didn't he? So he's already passed what he promised us anyway. So I don't trust him. 959 and 119, which is a surprisingly high reception total. This is last year. Given his yardage, 7.8 yards per. Jeez. Yards per catch is 11 point. Yards per target, 7.8. Okay, 7.8. So 11.84 yards per catch. I'm sorry. I thought that was his yards per catch. I was like, that is very bad. 11.84. Still not great. I mean, year prior, 15. Year prior to that, 14.37. 14, 17. I mean, he was getting 17 yards per catch in 2018. Different team, I get it, but okay, so coming off of a 1799 season in 2023, the man had 1799 and 13 TDs in 2023. That was a great year. The year prior, 1710 and 7 TDs. So comes into this situation, wrist injury. He just had surgery again, but it wasn't a setback. It was to remove some screws. You know, it was a very deceptive report, and so everybody reported on it. Ended up being, he said that, he didn't have 119 receptions. That was the year prior. He had 81. I'm sorry. He had 81. Okay, that makes more sense. I was wondering how he had that total. I was looking at the other line. I'm sorry. So his receptions last year were 81, 959. Now that makes sense. That's why that makes sense. Okay. And then his touchdown totals, 6 TDs last year. This is a bad season, guys. He played 17 games. I know he played injured, but he played 17 games. And when you look at his game log, there's so much to be desired. And you look at his game log and you say to yourself, okay, well, what about Tua? Let's go back and look at Tua. When was Tua out? Let's pull it up. Leaders, QB, 2024 stats. I'm looking at the right numbers. I want to make sure because it reverted last time and I was reading the wrong shiat. But Tua Tagovailoa, who missed time, who keeps getting injured. It's just a matter of time before this guy takes one headshot and he's done. He missed weeks, essentially missed week, a portion of week 2. 3, 4, 5, 7. 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay? 3, 4, 5, 7. Let's go back to Tyreek Hill. And look at Tyreek Hill's game log. Let me actually take a screenshot and put it on screen real quickly so that we can all look at it together. 3, 4, 5, 7, right? So let's take a look at Hill during that time frame. Here is the graphic. 3, 4, 5, 7. 3, 4, 5, 7. Who do we appreciate? Not Tyreek Hill. Dragging it over. As soon as it reaches my computer. There it is. So Tyreek Hill in week 3. I don't even have the TDs in there. It cut it off. I'm sorry about that. I'll tell you what the TDs are. The touchdowns are in week 10, 11, 13, 14, and 16. So 3, 4, 5, 7. He did drop off dramatically during that time. But obviously, we knew that. But what happens in week 8? 72 yards. 72 yards, no touchdowns. Week number 9, 80 yards and no touchdowns. So the yardage returned. The next week, no yardage, but a touchdown. The next week, 60 yards and a touchdown. 48-0, 83-1, 115-1. I'll be honest with you. Looking at this makes me feel a little bit better than I did, just to be completely honest. And I'm spitballing this live. He did do a lot better. I mean, we knew this, but he did a lot better than I thought with Tua back. Now, let me put the actual game log that's not cut off on the damn screen because you can't even see it. So, hold on. Now, this is going to cut off the side of it now, but this damn thing is too wide to even show you the whole thing. But he did very well at times. Not the whole time. He's kind of inconsistent, but I almost want to extrapolate the games with Tua and see. I mean, we knew he did better with Tua, but he did have a pretty decent run there in weeks 10 through 16. But, you know, you got the week 15 and 16 where it's literally low yardage. All those red boxes are him underperforming like a madman. It's really, you know what I'm going to say? This might still be unpopular for the people that want me to believe in Tyreek Hill. And I'm trying to tell you that the numbers make me feel a little bit better. Like just looking at the layout of his game log with Tua being out week 3, week 4, week 5, and week 7, which is where he tanked. He didn't exactly explode in weeks 8, 9. And he had, you know, bad games in between. Did have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 TDs in that time frame when Tua was back. This is what I'm going to say. I think that he's still overpriced. I think that in best ball, I could find myself taking a gamble once in a blue moon, but not even a significant amount of attempts at Tyreek Hill. But I still want 0 shares in non-best ball. I want 0 shares in just regular redraft, home leagues, your work league, your non-best ball. Being that he's 31 years old. Ziggy, how old is Tyreek Hill? Let's get his birthday. March 1st. Okay, so he just turned 31. Ziggy, volume 10. I'm just going to tell you this. The odds of him having hamstring injuries, as most speedy guys do, the odds of him failing, the odds of Tua going down again, the odds of all those things, those red flags, they don't give me much solace. At the end of the day, I'm going to say this. Maybe he has an uptick. Maybe it's 90 receptions. Maybe he has 10, 50 receiving. Maybe he has 6 TDs again. But this doesn't justify going in round number 2. This doesn't justify going even in round number 3. I'm still sticking to my guns that even if Tyreek Hill has 6 to even 8 TDs, 6 to 8 TDs, give me Harvey, who's going in round 4, 5, and Harvey's going to get me probably 1,400 total yards, 12 to 14 touchdowns, and probably 43 receptions. So Harvey's a better option than just getting Tyreek Hill. Hampton, Henderson, JD5, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Kyron Williams, Breece Hall, all of those guys. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if Tyreek Hill can do it a little bit better than we expect. Even if he plays 17 games, you know, the odds of Tua going down are still very high. There's too many red flags and vulnerabilities. You've got a Tua vulnerable red flag. You've got Tyreek Hill being 31 and just naturally slowing down this year in an unpredictable fashion to people that just think everybody lives forever like Derrick Henry. You've got too many red flags for Tyreek Hill to be better than Harvey, to be better than Hampton, to be better than Kyron, to be better than Breece Hall, to be better than all the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks. So no, maybe even best ball, I say no. I still don't think I can take him. When push comes to shove in the 3rd round, if he's going around 5, it'd be different. But he's not. So Tyreek Hill's an avoid, plain and simple. And even if I'm wrong and he delivers, I'm still not wrong.
Let him cook.
Why? Because of what I just said. Because of what I just said, that Harvey's still going to get you those points. It's safer, and Harvey does it. JD5's worth taking over Hill. If I'm wrong and Hill produces, JD5 still produces, you're not wrong. You just end up watching somebody that took a gamble and they nailed it. But guess what? You nailed it also by going the safer route for JD5. by going the safer route for Harvey. That's it. There's no argument here. Even when I'm wrong, even when you're wrong and Hill delivers, you avoided the risk. They made it. It's like two people going to one spot. Okay, here's the starting point and here's the end point. And there's the storm right here and an ocean and all these different climate issues. And then there's this easy path that's right here. And then there's this path that goes through all that. At the end of the day, someone can take that path and they might make it through and get there. You're going to get there as well. Yours is safer. Yours is safer. Maybe there's a touch more upside somewhere, somehow in this path. But guess what? This is safer. At the end of the day, you're not wrong. They're not wrong either. They made it, but they were risking the biscuit. They got it right. You're both right. You're both right. That's it. You're both right, but you have no risk. That's what it is. Waddle. I don't know if we're gonna have time for a draft. These things take forever. I love them. I enjoy them, but we're definitely pushing the limits. For those that want to draft tonight, anyway, and I might do one right out. I might drop a draft and a draft with you offline, but we'll do that. We'll get in one together. $1,000 up to $1,000 in bonus credit by using code Smitty. The link is right here. I'm gonna drop the link in the live chat. I'm gonna pin the link in the live chat. Here's the link right here. Play underdog, promo code Smitty. Do it live. JMO is electric, but JMO is also potentially a problem right now in Detroit, according to the Detroit fan base, according to a lot of people. So there's so many. The JMO fan base is like obliviously all in a way that doesn't protect them. It's a little reckless. I understand it, but it's reckless. It's crazy. They'll take him in the third or fourth round if they need to. You know, JMO's got a lot of upside. 1,000-yard receiver, barely. 1,001. 7 TDs, 58 receptions. Could he have 65, 10, 50, and 7 again? Sure. But that will be flirting with the 15 to 20 range or the 13. But that's in an ideal situation. Waddle, not in an ideal situation. If Tyreek Hill, falls off a little bit, it still doesn't mean the door is wide open for Waddle, who finishes wide receiver 46 last year. Wide receiver 46. He played 15 games. Jeez, that's horrible. 58 receptions, 744. I've been off this guy from the beginning. And when he was going so high, 2 TDs, he was going so high. That's a horrible line. He was going so high for years. I couldn't understand why everybody's getting a second. This is like the JMO thing. Like how anybody's going to be in on JMO as not even the second option on the team. JMO's not even the second receiving option on the team. Either's Waddle. Because Achane is. So there's not a lot of appeal here other than you count on 65 receptions for 900 and maybe 5 to 6 TDs in his best potential light. And then in his worst, his floor is that. I don't want any part of that. Jonnu is a monster. And I will say that the other running backs on the Miami Dolphin roster, we still need to see the pecking order, how it all shakes out. There's definitely going to be some value, but I don't think we're ready to project that yet. Jonnu Smith had a marvelous, shout out to Superfish who predicted this in the bold prediction contest and won. 8 TDs, 111 targets. Remarkable year. Dare I say, I don't know. I don't think this is disrespectful to say 75 to 82 receptions, 750 to 850 yards. Just a little bit of leeway, little pliability here, and 6 to 8 TDs. Still a very good year. Still capable of 5 to 7, 5 to 8, maybe 4 to 8 touchdown potential. 4 to 8. I'd say 4 to 8 is good. Yeah, Jalen Wright gets run. That will be good. And again, like other offenses, you only want Achane getting at most like 210 to 215 carries. So if the Dolphins run the ball 450 times, you still have 200 to 230 carries that need to go to other RBs. So Jalen Wright could have a season that looks something like this if they decide to use him. They also have Ollie Gordon, who I like a lot. So Gordon or Wright, we don't know which one. They both could get 400 yards and 3 TDs. 403. One could get potentially, let's call it 180 carries times 180 carries times 4.4, 700. So 800 yards and 5 TDs. Like, there's that potential in best ball that could work. That's the Miami Dolphins. That's the Miami Dolphins, ladies and gentlemen. We're down to the final team. Thank God. I enjoy this, but I'm trying to get through as fast as I can for you guys and open up the phone lines. We've been here for an hour and 10 minutes. Looks like it's going to take about an hour and 10 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes to do an entire division, because we don't beat around the bush. We got Drake May and the boys. We got Henderson. We got Ramondre. I'll try and go through this one semi-quickly, and for many reasons, not just to rush it, but because it's going to be hard to tell. 7 and 10. Drake May is the boy here that everybody's expecting to be a big leap taker here. And Drake May had some moments. He's obviously a good running quarterback. He needed support. I think the big takeaway for Drake May, who was QB 23 last year, QB 23, pretty impressive when you consider he had no weapons. I think the takeaway here is that he had far less opportunity. Average 7.8 yards per rush, 421 and 2 TDs. There is a world where he has less rushing or more rushing. Less rushing because he is making more completions and not scrambling as much, second chance opportunity that he's trying to make, himself. So there is a world where he actually does, this or less. I kind of think it's going to be more TDs. Let's call it 4 TDs rushing. And I think he still has 400, rushing yards. It could be 400 to 500. But I could see a world where he's just so much more successful passing it doesn't. So he played 13 games, and of this, you could even use 12 to be safe when you look at these numbers and you're trying to calculate his first game, and you divide that, his total of 2276 divided by 13 is 175 a game times 17. He was on pace for about roughly 3,000 yards. I think he can get 3,800 to 4,000 yards this year now that he has weapons. His touchdown totals from last year, he had 15 TDs and 10 INTs. INTs were up there, but again, without good receivers, tip balls, bad field position, trying to force things to catch up and win a game. There's a lot of reasons why that 10 INTs will be maybe 10 INTs on a full 17 game slate. In fact, I'll write it in 10 INTs. I think he'll improve in that department a lot. It's just he was doing a lot with a little. 15 TDs divided by, 13 games is 1.15 times 17. That is not going to be a good indicator. 19 TDs. Give him 25 to 26 TDs passing. And that puts him right around 29 total touchdowns. That puts him right. We'll give him 30. We'll just give him 3,800 to be safe. 3,800 yards passing, 400 puts him, right around 4,200 total yards. This is a good year for him. This is a good year for the young man. And I think he's going to have a tremendous season, proving a lot of people wrong, because he finally has weapons like Kyle Williams, who I really like a lot. I could see him pulling in. Trying to think of a line that we could use from last year's rookies. Not Neighbors. Actually, let's use. By the way, on the earlier show, I sorted wrong Jerry Jeudy for anybody that wants the record corrected. He had 91, 229, and 4 TDs. But I had like 2024 stats, or I had some sort of filter on it. So Jeudy had a much bigger line than I read off. I'm sorry about reading that. Lab McConkey had 82, 1149, and 7. He's probably not going to have, Kyle Williams is not going to have that line. But let's keep going and finding a player that seems comparable. I'd probably say Jawan Jennings had 77, 975. And he's not a rookie, but I'm just looking at some lines that make sense. I think this is doable for Kyle Williams. 77, 975, and 6 TDs. I think what Jawan Jennings did all year last year. I think, look at Marvin's rookie year. and we see 62, 885, and 8, which is, I think, better than people. They just had such a high expectation for Marv. I think you could give 65. This is going to be my line for Kyle Williams. 65, 900, and 7, 6 to 7 TDs. I think that's going to be Kyle Williams' line. I think the other receivers will kind of wait and see on that. I think the only other player I want to project for would be Hendy, and say that Hendy, as a rookie, gets injected into the lineup pretty early, even if he's, sharing the role with Ramondre, and Stevenson could have, I would say, let's look at Stevenson's running totals from last year and just get an indication of what he did as a starter, how he's going to struggle sharing the damn ball. But he had 801 last year rushing, 7 TDs on the ground. He had 33 receptions for receiving yards, 168. So 33, 168, and 1 TD. So I think his TDs get knocked down to, let's call it, 3 rushing TDs, 0 receiving TDs. I think he has something along the lines of 18 receptions for 100 yards. I think his rushing stats go down to about 550. And he has a 553 TDs, 18 catches for 100 something yards, 110 yards. And he's basically a backup. Hendy, I don't know that he gets off to a crazy start in week 1. He could share work, but I do anticipate him having a similar year to what Chase Brown had. I think you're going to see Chase Brown, his numbers of 990 with a slow start, right? This is why I think Hendy's very comparable to Chase Brown's stat line from last year. Chase Brown started off a little bit slower than we wanted, and that's what we're going to... I'm not saying that happens with Hendy, but we prepare for the worst, right? So 990 rushing, 7 TDs on the ground. I think I like that. And receiving touchdowns, 4 TDs receiving. And he had 54 receptions. I think he's going to outdo that. For 360 receiving. I think this is going to be around 60 plus receptions for 400 receiving. Let's call this 6 TDs to offset that a tiny bit. Receiving touchdowns, let's call it 3. So that's only 9 total touchdowns. And Hendy, let's give him, I'm going to give him 10. I'm going to give him the famous 10-10. 10-10 rushing, 400 receiving, 60 plus receptions, 9 touchdowns. And I could even see that being like 5 and 3, 8 touchdowns. But he's going to have, this is going to help him a lot, PPR. I think Hendy has a remarkable rookie season with a lot to be desired heading into the next year. A lot of upside, a lot of people loving the kid. This is kind of a floor. I think he's certainly capable of more. Keep in mind that I'm projecting him to maybe have a protected and baked in slow start. And this is his, even if we put this back to like 990, this is his baked in floor. And even if this was 55 receptions for let's call it 55 for like 390 over here, this is his baked in floor. He certainly can overperform on this. All right, phone lines are open. That is my projection show for the AFC East. I did the AFC North already, so we're down to 2 more, AFC West, AFC South to go. We'll do those tomorrow probably, and then we'll move on to the NFC on Saturday and Sunday. So dial into the show. Let's discuss everything that you saw right now.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. There's a pretty good breakdown. I don't think anybody does it like we do. I don't think anybody's given you an hour and 20-minute breakdown on 2 divisions the way we've done it, and is about to give you an hour and 20 minutes on the South, on the West, and then hour and 20 minute show times 4 in the NFC. I don't think anybody's doing it like we do. In fact, I know nobody does it like we do it. And then who else opens open phone lines after? I don't think so. The answer is no one.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
Week 1 schedule. Put that over here because that's important to discuss and look at. I'll gander at the week 1 schedule as we talk. I'll make it look nice and attractive later. This is kind of a rough shot. I think this is what Travis sent me earlier, the rough shot graphic of the schedule, but we'll clean it up. Gump says, would you want MHJ or JMO? I want MHJ over JMO. What are you talking about? Come on, Gump. Come on, Gump. Don't act like that. Sim Valley says, stay liquid, stay loose, stay H-N. That's right, baby. That's right. That is correct. Love it, bro. You're so right. Gotta go into every thing with full confidence. Never. That's what I'm talking about. Travis, you're live. Hello?
Hey, what's up?
What's up? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty active. Williams. Maybe a little bit. Like I keep saying, I think a year away, true, like, and then sometimes.
Keep going.
Hello?
Yeah, keep going.
But yeah, I think quickly he gets you, especially where a lot of use back like him. So I like those Patriots.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty fair about stuff like, especially if I'm doing projections. Sometimes I might get amped up on a question. But if I sit down and I start penciling it out or marking it out, I think I'm pretty objective. Like, I think these Hendy predictions are very safe. 990, 3 or 6 rushing TDs, 3 receiving, 55 for 390. And this could be even, such a dynamic player. Let me put I could put 450 on 55. 450, I think that looks better. So 990, 6 TDs, 3 receiving TDs, 55 receptions, 450 receiving. He's going to be in there on third downs. He's the best pass protecting back in the draft class, so he's not going to be out on third downs. He'll be in on third downs. He'll be in there protecting Drake May, and that's going to keep him on the field. And then once he's on the field, all he has to do is produce, which he will do because that's what he does. So, but I think it's a very, I could come out and say, 1,300 yards rushing, 400, but I'm pretty objective with it, I think. And even Kyle Williams, as much as I want Kyle Williams to be, a 1,200 yard receiver, which again, my floor for Kyle Williams was my floor for Kyle Williams. No one is suggesting Kyle Williams can't have 1,150 yards and 6 touchdowns as a rookie, but I think it's important to have floors and talk about the ceiling values for sure. But, just because he outperforms our floor value doesn't mean that wasn't a smart floor. Like someone might say, you're way off on. No, I'm not. I'm talking about how Kyle Williams has a tremendous ceiling. I think when you talk about a player like Waddle, I'm giving you a floor and I'm telling you his ceiling's not much higher. So I'm giving that expectation. So in the case of Hendy, his floor is this, his ceiling's way higher. So we're definitely on board with the ceiling. It's just, we got to be smart. We got to buy. It's like buying a house. The house is appraised for $300,000. We try and buy it for $280,000. We try and buy it for $290,000. We'll buy it for $300,000. We'll buy it for $305,000 if we get put in a position where we need to, or $310,000, even though it's worth $300,000. But we don't go spending $400,000 just because we know it will someday be worth $500,000. You don't just blow money and flush it down the toilet. You try and get in at the right price and the right expectation. Hendy's expectation is pretty solid here. Do we have any clarity on Mixon and Barkley cuffs? Marks is the cuff the rookie to Mixon and Barkley Shipley for right now. But I don't think we'll have clarity until we see these guys out there, taking the jobs. And Dylan's there in Philly, so we'll see. But I don't think Dylan. I think Dylan's there for the tush push. That's it. What were you saying, Travis?
I think the roughing, I think you're right there. Where actually, I kind of hope it drops. I hope it's more in that like project range where they run, they have to, they scramble if they have to. Last year, he was just running for his life sometimes.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Well, I started to
go in the right direction.
Yeah, I started to dial it. I started to dial it back when I was doing the projection, but then I just pictured him, and I see a Josh Allen mentality where it's like, yeah, I don't love to run, and I try not to, but Josh Allen wants to win more than anyone on the field. And so when he says, screw it, I got to do it myself, he never holds back, and he just does it. He takes control. I think Drake May will be similar. He'll say he wants to be safer. His coaches will try and get him to not. But when he's sitting there and he's got 11 yards to go and he has to do it himself and he sees the opening, he's just going to take it. So that's why I was starting to hold back on my projections going, I could totally see Drake May just being more successful throwing now that he has weapons and not needing to run. But then I'm like, guy's still going to take off and run and say, I got to get this first down for the boys. And he's going to end up with 400 yards. But yeah, you don't want him going toward the 7. That's for sure. Let me add this caller real quick. Hold on one second. And then we'll go over to Gump and we'll go around the call. Caller, hang tight for me. Let me get DJ in here. Everybody on the phone line, if you guys could remain quiet real quickly. And I'm going to go over to Gump. Let me see what Gump has. Everybody else mute yourself. Gump, you're live.
Is this Smitty?
Hello.
Smitty Sunday, is this you?
Hello.
Hey, you know you're going to get that chicken the first game of the season. We already made that deal. But, and I do say but, I like to do a bucket. I get MHJ, and I got JMO. What do you say?
I mean, that's not really for me. I think JMO's got a lot to prove. I think MHJ's got a lot to prove. But that's not something that's I'm passionate about. I love MHJ.
You like MHJ? I'll take JMO.
I know, Gump, but that's not something that I think is crazy. So no.
Just for
I know you want to win your bucket of chicken back. This is your way of trying to do double or nothing. You're trying to do double or nothing. You call into the show and you go, hey, I'm giving you the chicken, but another bucket of chicken. Like, you're basically, he tried to double or nothing earlier, and I'm like, no, I want my chicken, and then we'll do another challenge.
No, you got that one. That'll be separate.
Gump, we both know if you know. I understand what you're saying, but I think MHJ could be screwed. So I think you probably do well. I'm excited about Kyler, but this is no lock. That's not something I'm going to war on. Pick something else. Why don't you pick pick something with Goff? Why don't you pick something with Goff?
Just for you. Yeah, I know, but just for you, I'm going to give Jameson Williams a nickname right now.
Thank you, Gump. I can't wait.
Agent. And you know what his nickname is?
Agent.
Road Runner. Beep, 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 beep. That's Jameson's new nickname. Road Runner.
Does the Road Runner get run over on quite a few occasions?
No. He's the Road Runner. Beep, 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 beep.
Does he always get away?
Huh?
I think Rashee Rice and Worthy are the ones that are the Road Runners, bro.
No. Listen, you do have something right about Fields. Fields is good. We know that. That's gold.
Okay, but I'm not. Why don't we do a challenge? Why don't we do a challenge about your boy Goff, who's gonna fall apart? I think to a degree. Let me accept my challenge. Then accept my challenge. Like what on earth do you think? What are you doing?
Go ahead.
What's your challenge? Give me a challenge.
Huh?
Hold on one second for me. Gump, give me a challenge. You keep talking Goff up. You get so upset when I say Goff is not going to do as well as you think, but yet you never accept any challenge. I tried to give you Milroe versus Goff per start. You walked away from that.
listen, you've been saying Goff is going down, and I'm saying he's climbing the ladder.
Is he not?
Say right
Get the earwax out of your ears, Gump. And challenge me to something. Challenge me to.
here.
Okay, let me pull something out of my hat here. Let's go Bo Nix versus Goff. Let's just see if I can get that one. What do you think? Fantasy points end of the year.
I'll take that.
You want? Okay, bucket of chicken.
100%. Oh man!
All right. Hey, Gump.
I feel so good. What? What?
I felt like I was taking candy from a baby on that. Okay, so Gump. Gump. We'll do the bucket of chicken thing for you, whatever. Although I'm not gonna order a bucket. You might order a bucket of chicken. I don't have time for that. I'll send you something.
Oh, I have it waiting for you. All you have to do is go to the Popeyes. They'll be waiting for you.
Does anybody think that I made a mistake on that? Knicks versus Goff, fantasy points. We got to decide. We got to decide. We got to. Not talking to you, Gump. I'm not talking to you. We got to decide. We'll go by Marsman scoring. Because that's the main league that we go by. So I'll sort it by that. I'll just sort.
Cougars. What's that?
No. I'm going to go just for the record, because you're talking over. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Everybody out there, Marsman scoring. Very simple. Just so we have one scoring to look at. Goff versus Bo Nix. Gump, take it, says Sim Valley. Gump, man up and accept it. Does everybody think I got Gump on this one? Bo Nix is in for a breakout quarterback season. But do people like Goff more?
I think you pretty much have it equal until you play the season. I think it's a fair standoff.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm like ripping him off, but I think that, yeah, Nix is about to take a big step forward. Now, Goff has had good success, but guess who was QB7 last year? Gump, as a rookie, Bo Nix. Guess who was QB6 with Ben Johnson? Goff. So you're laughing and going crazy, but they were one spot apart, and one was a rookie, my boy. He's just getting going. Nix, blue 32, get a chicken. Stat, second bucket of the year. 2 in a row. Smitty 2-0 against Gump.
No, that's. I had this plan because I know you said to help the program, right? To help the program, to help you build your show. Be a good, kind, godly person that I am. I came up with an idea, but the Don said there's no way that Smitty would do it because you were doing that podcast in Phoenix, right?
What? What are you talking
I didn't get to see it. I don't know if it turned out good or not. You know the podcast you were doing live on Phoenix?
No, Gump. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you do either.
I thought you were doing podcast live on Phoenix.
Gump, this is a podcast. This is my podcast. This is my show. I don't
think you were out and about.
No, I was going live on my channel from my phone.
Okay. Well, I told Don that, and I said, well, we have a place where he can go live from.
Where, Gump?
But Don said there's no way.
Gump, this better be clean. This better be clean, or just shut your mouth. Hold on a second, Gump. Let me merge this color in. Gump, go ahead. Gump.
My pontoon boat. Yeah. I'm going to go work on my pontoon boat to Gilligan. And I told Don, I said...
Gump, hold on a second. You're getting out of pocket. No one knows what you're talking about. Gump.
Get Smitty on board and he can do a podcast right from the Mississippi River.
Gump, mute yourself. Mute yourself, please. I'll come back to you in a second. We got to move on. Let me go over to Lancaster, who we haven't heard from for a while, I think. Lancaster, welcome back, my boy. You're live.
Hey, man. So I'm still scratching my head at the Dolphins at 9-7.
Why? Why? What's making you scratch your head about that?
I mean,
9-8.
We look at Tua's performance over the past year and his last, his 4 games after he came back from.
What was your record last, my boy?
What's that?
What was your record last year, my boy?
My record?
What were the Dolphins? What was the Dolphins' record last year?
Dolphins record last year. Let's pull it up.
Let me get Rock out. Hold on one second. Let me merge Rock out in. Hold on, Rock out. Mute yourself if you could, real quickly, buddy boy. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Read it off to me. You there?
Hold on a second. Sorry.
Here, let's ask Kruger. Let's ask Kruger. He'll tell us.
So they were 8-9 last year.
Okay.
But
I just want to hear you say it.
what have they done to improve their team versus the other teams in that division?
Bro.
Their record
Gee,
Hawks, man. Have you looked at their schedule?
bro, you think your argument's really strong? I'm just curious. Like, do you think you're calling in your dear Smitty? Dear Smitty, I can't believe you have my Dolphins at 9-7, even though it's 9-8. By the way, you said 9-7 when you called in.
They were,
Dear Smitty, bro.
I think they're gonna be worse, man. Like I think
worse.
That's
I don't even know where he's going.
Year for them.
I don't know where he's going with this. Okay, worse. I thought this was a call you saying that I did bad by making it too low. I could, yeah. I mean, look, bro, your argument was so unclear. We all thought you were pro Miami. That's how unclear your argument's been.
No. I think that the team's on the verge of collapse.
Well,
I mean, we don't want to predict injury for anybody, but there is the two things with injury. There's a chance they have Quinn Ewers possibly playing multiple
he's not
games.
even clear-headed here.
We have, a 31-year-old Tyreek Hill as the wide receiver one who had, 2 good games last year. There's a lot of things that go wrong with the Dolphins. I think they're one of my bottom 5 teams.
Bro, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like you just repeated everything that I just said.
You have a 9-1 team.
But you call and you're like, look, let me tell you about why 2 is a risk. Let me tell you about why I said all this. Did you not watch? Did you just pull up the live stream, see 9-8, and just call in? Because I literally went over everything that you just said, but in more detail, in professional fashion. How the Dolphins are a mess right now. How this is potentially not somebody you can't believe in Tyreek Hill. This is why Tyreek Hill is a must, no draft, no go player. And you call in, you're like, Smitty, I got a beef with your 9-8 record. Let me tell you exactly why. And you just repeated in a more watered down fashion everything I just said. Now, the 9-8 record might not match what you're saying, but I mean, I just said all that. This is the reason they're 9-8. They could be 8 wins, 7 wins. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, sure. But I mean, I already just said why they're probably going to be a failure team this year. They're going to probably fail. Yeah.
I want to see the upside with why I'd have them at over under 5.5.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I'm not going to disagree that there's. And I don't know if you listened to any of what I said. I said the Jets and the Dolphins. One of these teams is going to come out and probably just be like, we knew it. One of them is going to fail. Both of them could, but I think the Jets have enough pieces and they've reset in a way that I like. I feel like they're getting rid of the ghost of New York's past. But one of the Jets, Dolphins is going to fail. And I said that as eloquently as I could. The only thing that you're disagreeing with is the actual result, which is fine. And I'm okay with a 7-win projection for sure. When I first did it, I went back and forth on what I was going to do. So we're not disagreeing on anything there. But when you called in, you're like, I can't believe. I mean, everything you said, I said, but in more detail. Look, Hill is a total risk to go after. Tua's 1 shot away. The only thing that makes me think they could get 9 wins, though, is they've got Achane. They've got, talent. Tua's going to do well when he's on the field. Tua plays well when he's on the field. But Tua could get a 1 headshot. They brought in Bobby Slowick, who should fix things back a little bit to where they should be. And Bobby Slowick's a really good offensive mind. He did great for Stroud. He was a scapegoat in Houston. They absolutely screwed him when he did nothing wrong. They should have fired everybody else but Bobby Slowick. But they fired Bobby Slowick.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the Niners fired remember their Super Bowl loss? The Niners in that Super Bowl loss against Mahomes and the boys. They come out and they fire their defensive coordinator. What was his name? Sideline Steve. They fired Sideline Steve Wilkes. They fired him after he took this team to the Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan, and his defense shut down Mahomes for a whole half. And they scapegoated him as fast as they could.
Well, it was a weird thing, like seeing that the Dolphins have 5 primetime games, and they're not. They're worried.
They're an exciting team, though, bro. Like, I know what you're trying to say, but this is Achane. This is Tyreek Hill, who, we think he's going to potentially fall off, but the world still knows he's fast, and there's drama there. And Tua's still a popular NFL quarterback, and Jonnu Smith had a breakout year, and this is a track team. They're speedy. They expect it to be, at least an exciting scoring affair, and I think it could be. Like, I think you're discrediting some of the weapons, but the outcome, I believe, we're on the same page that it's going to be a disappointing year. 9-8 is not an exciting year, my guy. 9-8 is not getting it done. Like, could it be worse? Yeah. Could as I said, again, I don't think you listen.
9-8 makes you automatically a top half team.
I don't think you listened to the whole show, though, because I even said that I wouldn't be surprised if New England finished ahead of Miami. Like I said that. Hold on, let me merge this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You're my boy, Lancaster. Lancaster, you're my boy. I'm not mad at you. I feel like you didn't hear any of it because you repeated it all. And I said New England could be, I could see Miami folding. I made that abundantly clear. And New England Patriots could be that team at the 9 or 8 win level, and then the Dolphins could be under them. But I mean, look, the Dolphins could win 9 games. Is not that crazy. It's not that crazy at all. They're not going to win. They're not going to make the playoffs. That's their true measurement. But anyway, Lancaster, anything else real quick? You can stay on mute real quick, but anything else while you're on it?
Nope. I'll jump back in the chat. You have a great night today.
All right, Lancaster, don't take that personally. I was just kind of messing with you in a way. You all right?
Nah, we have fun, man.
All right, just making sure. Later, bro. 214 Jordan. 214. You live?
What's up, Smitty? It's Jordan Blue.
What's up, Jordan Blue?
Hey, man, I just wanted to say I like the prediction you get Garrett Wilson. And putting everything in perspective for the young man, him getting 1,000-yard season 3 times.
All 3.
That's less than 147 targets. It helps me lean Garrett Wilson over MHJ when you're drafting.
For sure.
Because I always get those two in about the third, 4th round.
Well,
and I'm always like, which one do I go? And that prediction coming in, they're going to have the same kind of upside coming into this season. But I don't know. It kind of makes me lean a little more Garrett Wilson since he's proven, 1,000-yard seasons. Of course, they both still have a lot of potential. They got great quarterbacks that can deliver the ball to them that also can fall apart in some ways, some days. So, I don't know. I like Garrett Wilson a lot this season. He's still got a lot of potential in him. So.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson is the one guy I would draft in round 2 if I feel like the wide receivers were getting gobbled up and I needed to force a wide receiver a little higher than I wanted to. Like, let's say I went Gibbs or Bijan or Barkley or whatever, and or Genty, and I want to go wide receiver, and I'm afraid of what's going to be left in round 3. Maybe Marv won't be there, but Marv is a 3rd rounder. Garrett Wilson is a 2 to 3 round turn kind of guy. So the answer is definitely Garrett Wilson, especially if you're around 3 and you got Garrett Wilson and Marv. Garrett Wilson's the guy. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, makes his own way. I even gave the example of Marv needing the football in a certain way, and it's kind of like, it's almost like you can't turn on Marv unless you get the ball to him, whereas Garrett Wilson is making his own way, and the ball is, it's almost like Debo in a way. Like you're not running him like Debo. I'm not saying he's a wide back, but Debo was the kind of player that you're like, hey, you throw it to him at the line of scrimmage and say, go make something happen. And it's like Garrett Wilson's that guy. He's a creator. He creates his own way. JJ creates his own way. Neighbors creates his own way. Marv is somebody that needs that football delivered to him. And if you don't do it, he doesn't find a way to get it done. He doesn't run the routes or his style of play that can be conducive to a bad QB situation, or, you know, let's spread the ball around, but Garrett still gets his. Marv, if they're spreading the ball around, Marv might get one catch. You know, so he just runs different routes. He's a different position, different style of player. Garrett Wilson is safe. That's why he has 3 years played, 3,000-yard seasons. So, yeah, monster.
I like Garrett Wilson a lot this year. Receiver too.
All right, Blue, we'll see you later, pal. Appreciate you.
Hey, this minute.
All right, let me go over to Bruce. You're loose. Go.
I know we talked about Kyle Williams, but what do you think Diggs' value this year? Is he just going on your favorite planet with CNC and Hill?
No, I'll admit something. Diggs looks really good right now, but the problem is that graft isn't completely healed, and he's out there pulling it out of its screwed in place. I'm not saying that it pulls out and he tears his ACL, but he's for sure. And I think he's getting to the point where the graft is probably pretty healthier, and he's probably pretty close. But he was out there weeks ago, just cutting left and right, and just that graft has to be, it's screwed in place. It's a cutout of the patellar tendon. Someone just left the chat. If you want to call back in, I was going to go to you next, but they cut out your patellar tendon, and I don't think he had the cadaver surgery, but they cut out the patellar tendon, a little window. Almost think of it like they're cutting out like a pipe string, like a piece of it almost looks like the size of like a match in a way, a little bit bigger than like a match. And they take that and they drill holes and clean everything out. They get rid of the ACL. It's like a broken rubber band that snapped. And they drill a hole, they stick it in, they screw it in, and it's a patellar tendon piece, right? So it's a tendon. This needs to be the ACL, the ligament, ACL ligament. So it's a tendon, which means it has to die, okay? And then it hardens, and it turns into the form of a ligament. They're essentially making your knee feel like it has a ligament again, but by cutting that piece out and putting it there, it has to die, it has to harden, the bone has to grow into it. The bone grows into the screws, everything just kind of merges in and holds tightly, and then it has to take. And it takes about 6 months for that ACL to really, really be held in place. Otherwise, when you start cutting like he was, you're pulling it out. And I'm just so fearful that he's done damage you can't even see yet. Remember when I told everyone that Akers was going to re-tear or tear his other Achilles tendon because he rushed back? And everyone said, Smitty, he's on the field. He looks great. He tried to come back the same season he tried, and I said, he's going to tear it. I don't care if he's making it through a game. And he made it through the very tail end of the season. He came back, played just the last couple games or whatever, and then went into the offseason. People said, Smitty, he didn't tear it, though. He's fine. I go, no. The damage he did to a healing Achilles, you might not see until the next season when it snaps because he screwed up the recovery process. So Diggs isn't out of the woods yet, just because he's, But I will say this. If, for any reason, he didn't cause any damage to that graft, he looks fantastic. I'll admit that. And there is a world where Diggs has, 900 to 1,000 yards and 7 TDs, which I think would be remarkable value at his cost of entry. I think that's a world I could see living in. But, I also think that he could look really good right now, but once he gets into the game, things happen, man. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm definitely more optimistic about Diggs right now than I was a month ago. I promise you that. And that's the fun part about this, the adjust and adapt. I'm not always going to stick to my guns. Diggs looks good. He looks good. You know what I'm more concerned about? Cardi B. He's dating Cardi B. And I just don't know. I don't think that's good. What can someone give me the last time a polarizing
Oi, Cardi B, oi.
What? Who's talking in the background there? Who's mumbling? Who is that? Who's mumbling Cardi B in the background?
I said, hey, yo, Cardi B. I said, hey, yo, Cardi
Oh, okay. Who is this, by the way? Who is this?
Sorry, Smitty. Sorry. Bill the Tickler.
Bill the Tickler. Bill the Tickler's in the building. What's up, Bill?
Hey. Hey.
Hey. There he is.
Hey,
Bill the Tickler. What's up, Tickler?
How you doing, eh?
What's up, Tickler?
All right. Thank you, Travis.
Bill, what can we do for you? You at Denny's house?
I am not.
Are you at Denny's house? Getting into the cabinet?
Sorry, I tried a little early. Smitty, come back to me. Hold on.
Yeah. Why don't you compose yourself? Drink some water. We'll be right back. All right. Bill the Tickler. I'm glad to hear Bill. Bill's only in here at night. I think him and Denny got into the cabinet a little early tonight. But hang tight, Bill. Hang right there. What I was going to say was, yeah.
I can't hear you, Smitty.
What? Bill, we're off a little bit here. This is a give and a take. We gotta talk with each other and rotate, and it'll take some time to get the groove back, Bill. But hold on one second. Just hang tight, Bill. Cardi B. I was talking about Cardi B. Can anybody give me an example of a polarizing, more dominating female figure dating an athlete? And we're not talking about, a even type of
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, but we know that, Bruce. But what I'm saying is, can anybody think of another polarizing female figure that was overshadowing the player by a mile? Not some sort of even Steven thing, where it worked out well for the guy. I'm just asking. Like Ben Affleck and J-Lo completely ruined a lot of Ben Affleck's, I don't know, vibe.
Ready?
Like Taylor Swift, obviously. Yeah, yes, Bill. Yes, Bill.
But Madonna and Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, but yeah, and what's her name? Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee doesn't count because that's a band, and Tommy Lee was just so cool. Wow. Yeah, but Dennis Rodman, that's a while ago though. That's before like social media.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but that's before social media and such.
What about
during social media? You said, "Give me an example."
No, you did. You did. I didn't. I didn't clarify. I'm just saying my evaluation of that one is like maybe I should have clarified. Maybe I should. I just think that Cardi B, Diggs is not on Cardi B's level in terms of fame and all that. Diggs walks into a restaurant, very few people will recognize Stephon Diggs. Cardi B walks in, and it's like it's going to be crazy. So this is going to be overwhelming. This is going to be wild. I don't like this at all. Distraction, media. Cardi B wants to be Taylor Swift. Cardi B saw what happened with Taylor Swift, the media, the camera. But I don't think the camera is going to necessarily go on her the same way. I don't know that they're going to focus on her like she thinks. I don't know. I don't think the NFL is really all that into this idea.
He doesn't have this amount of money or followers either.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor Swift's on a whole lot of stuff, but I just think that Cardi. Mm-hmm. Robert Kraft. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. This is gonna be wild. I worry about that more than anything. Keeping his head on straight. Cardi B. I mean, look at Bill Belichick right now. And I'm not saying that his girlfriend is a higher stature person at all. She's not. She was like unknown. But look how that's just flipping. Like when you have this complicated, almost like polarizing public tug and pull relationship, it just ruins the person, ruins the athlete, ruins the coach. Bill Belichick's a laughingstock now because he's got his 20-something-year-old girlfriend out there with the walkie-talkies telling players where to go. I mean, it's a circus out there. And now Bill's a laughingstock. Bill Belichick's a laughingstock. I just think, I don't know what's going to go on here. Cardi B, this is wild.
Hello?
Yeah, is this Gump trying to interrupt? Hello? Yes, Gump.
Well, me and Don were just.
I don't know who Don. I don't know who Don is. Stop talking to me about Don. I don't know who he is. He's not a part of the show. I don't know who he is. I have no idea what you're talking about. When you go, yeah, well, Don was talking. It's like me just out of nowhere saying, well, Steve over here, Steve, you know Steve, right? No, I don't know Steve. I don't know Don. I don't know Don.
We're talking about Hendrickson.
Okay.
And I told him, I said that you better believe 100% that Brad Holmes has got the Cincinnati Bengals on speed dial, and he's trying to pull that deal off for the Lions to get Hendrickson. And Don says, well, he's not Bears.
Okay.
Well, Hendrickson's going to go to the Bears. I said, he ain't going to the Bears. And I started laughing at him.
Okay.
He got mad at me. And then he goes,
thank you for this.
He got kicked off the bus from David T. Pike's show.
Okay.
Then he got kicked off the Smitty bus show.
Okay.
And now you're going to get kicked off Don's show.
Thank you.
On me.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that, Gump. Appreciate you. And you're not going to get Hendrickson, probably.
What do you think about Hendrickson going to the Lions, and the Lions defense becomes?
What are you going to give? What are you going to give up, Gump? What are you going to give up, Gump? What are you going to give up to get Hendrickson?
What?
What are you going to give up? What
We're going to go. You don't think? Listen, you don't think he's got him? He's not trying to make that deal.
What are you giving up, Gump?
What
are you giving up, Gump?
Listen, can you be honest?
Gump, what are you giving up? What are you trading to get him?
No. Let's be honest here. You don't think it's like a 80% chance that Brad Holmes has been talking to Cincinnati about?
Gump, listen and focus. I know you don't focus well at all. I know that's something that you work on.
Like today.
Gump,
not yesterday.
Gump,
today.
Listen to me. This is painful. What are you giving up in a trade for Hendrickson? Please answer the question.
To give up the penny. Well, maybe next year's second or something. But we ain't giving up no players. We ain't going to give up no Hendon Hooker. We ain't going to give up no James. We ain't giving up
no Hendon Hooker. Deal is off. No Hendon Hooker.
We're not going to give up nobody. I don't give up together. We want Hendrickson, and we'll give you some draft capital. Give us our player.
If there's no Hendon Hooker, I'm out.
No. You don't get Hendon Hooker.
Nope.
You don't get nobody.
Nope.
We ain't giving up anybody. No more.
Okay, Tesla.
Nothing. No Tesla. Nobody. You guys gonna face our team at the roster that we got when week 13 comes.
Here, Gump, ready? Gump, call me up. I'm the Bengals. Hey, I'm the Bengals. Call me up. Ready? Ring, 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 ring. Bengals, hello.
Hello, this is Brad. This is Brad. I feel like the player over there. So we need him to go get a Super Bowl because Gump wants him. He wants him bad.
Okay.
And I can't deny him because he's been a fan for so long.
What's the offer?
And he's going to go to the Hall of Fame game. And I want to sign him before the Hall of Fame game.
What's the offer?
What can we do? I got to make
the offer?
It happen.
Are you listening to me? Is this phone not working? What's the offer?
I'm in a good mood today. Eat some watermelon. I'm going to give you a first and second. And listen, just let's make it happen.
You give me you're giving me a first and a second? You're gonna give me a
Ron, I want to
Stop talking!
I want to go to the Super Bowl.
Stop talking! Are you giving me a first and a second?
Yeah, you can have it. Yeah, go ahead. Next year, yeah, you can have it.
You're the worst GM. You can have them. You can have them. God, you can have them. A first and a second. Come on, Gump.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Cincinnati.
Finish him. Call terminated.
Jeez. Unbelievable.
The Lions GM losing his job off that.
I know we didn't even get the deal done because I couldn't even take his first and his second. I didn't believe him. It was going to happen. It's like I'm talking to someone's kid. It's like I was getting prank called. Unbelievable. All right, DJ, you're live.
I have one for you. Actually, two. About Sierra and Russell Wilson. So, with Captain America, Russell Wilson, personality coming in, and then Sierra with her music career and, of course, relationship with Future. That did seem like that was gonna, because Sierra. And, Russell could run for office, so he thinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have another one.
All right, that didn't work. Okay.
Bridget Nelson, and Mark Gastineau.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The good examples. Very good examples. Can anybody think of anybody else where the polarizing relationship tore the player down? I'm trying to think of any other ones. I mean, just anybody the Kardashians touch too, they go to trash.
Aaron Rodgers dated that bum lady for a little while.
But Aaron Rodgers is bigger than her. Someone tried to use Giselle and Brady, like Brady's bigger than life. Like that's not an example either. Yeah, it's got to be where the
the concern with Diggs and Cardi B. I just keep thinking about Mickey telling Rocky about needs. You know what I mean? You can't do anything before a game, and he's rehabbing. So I mean, ever since I saw that, I believe that as an athlete, you can't do that. So that's not a good match.
Yeah, well,
Cardi B's gonna.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Wide open.
We'll see what happens.
I got one. Priscilla Presley and Michael Jackson.
It's not an athlete.
Or Michael Jackson and Priscilla Presley.
If you weren't Bill the Tickler, I'd hang up on you right now.
as well you should. But if you weren't Smitty 20 the Professor, I wouldn't be calling in the first.
I know, but you're pulling out pop stars. You're talking about athletes right now. I mean, Michael Jackson was athletic.
Well, Michael Jackson hung bubbles, whatever.
All right,
and hung
all right, Bill.
He was athletic.
I got you.
Agree.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, Sierra. I don't know. Some people are saying Sierra wasn't that big of a star or something. I mean, I don't know. Lamar Odom. Jeter gave them all gift baskets. What happened to Jeter? What happened to Jeter's career during his situation? Like, how did he? Nothing.
Nothing. Anyone who made it.
And he's pretty. And wouldn't you say Jeter was kind of like bigger?
The gift basket. What is that?
But Jeter was still, even though Jeter wasn't, you could look at Jeter as like, I don't know, he's kind of like what's the best way to word this? He's kind of like a who's somebody that's not like the biggest star, but they're a Pippen, like Pippen. Like Scottie Pippen was larger than life because he was a part of something that's larger than life. So I feel like Jeter was awesome. Hold on. Jeter was awesome. I'm not saying he wasn't awesome. He's awesome. But he was part of such a bigger, larger than life situation that he was above, I think, anything that could pull him down. Diggs is not. Diggs is going to get swarmed up by Cardi B.
If you remember, I think it was like 2006. A-Rod came to the Yankees. All the spotlight went to A-Rod. Jeter was just kind of just doing his thing.
Yeah, but again, he was so big.
Spotlight.
Yeah, he was so big though that I don't think. Like Pippen. Again, Pippen was not himself larger than life, but Pippen was like you ran into Scottie Pippen. You're like, holy shit, was Scottie Pippen? It's not like you were. He was just part of something bigger than anything, around. So, like, I don't know. Good try, Bill.
Mike Tyson and Robin.
Robin Givens.
Robin Givens.
Mike Tyson, Robin Givens. Not that Robin Givens was, but I mean Mike Tyson.
But that's not a good example either. Mike Tyson. If we sent Mike Tyson to the aliens as our most athletic, strongest man to ever live, they would go running. Like this is. I mean, not if they hurt him. Like, he's Mike Tyson. I'm the toughest guy in the entire world. They'd be like, "This is your guy. This is your guy." No, but Mike Tyson was larger than life. Mike Tyson was larger than life.
I mean, he messed him up, man.
Yeah, I'm scary. I'm mean. I'm tough. I'm Mike Tyson. Hey, Bill the Tickler.
Yeah, but that's one of the greatest. Like before there was emojis, one of the greatest emojis ever was everybody's got a plan to get hit in the mouth.
Hey, how do we miss
the emoji before there was emoji?
All right, hold on, Bill. How do we miss?
Yes or
how
no?
do we miss this one? Jessica Simpson. Yeah.
I'm mute.
Yeah, mute, please. You're getting Gump-like. Tony Romo, Jessica Simpson. Yeah. I didn't turn.
Verlander just like Young.
Tony Romo and Jessica. Oh man.
I mean, Tony Romo didn't exactly like become a laughing stock, but I mean,
commercials. Those are rough.
Bill, what are you doing tonight? Bill, what are you doing tonight? Bill's on one tonight. Bill, you and I aren't in a rhythm. You're just talking straight over me. I feel like I'm hearing an echo.
I apologize.
That's right,
my intent.
Bill, we haven't seen you in a while, so I'm just glad you're here.
Usually you straight talk over me, so I apologize.
That's right.
It's not my intent.
All right, let me go around the phone line.
Your show.
We've been live for over 2 hours. I might need to start, wrapping it up here. We've got a 702 caller who's been waiting very patiently through this chaos. Who is this 702? Or maybe you've already talked. Or that's Bill. That's you, right, Bill? Bill, you're 702?
Yeah, 702.
Don't say your whole number. Bill.
I did not.
Okay.
I said enough for you to recognize.
All right, Bill. Bill, we don't need people calling you and blowing your phone up. DJ, final thoughts.
With Phil, yeah, you got to have him. Phil's, I'm a little biased, but Phil's in terms of his running capability. The Knicks and May comparison. I mean, if Knicks was QB, I see that May could probably do that as well with his running ability. And the Hill situation, I would stay away from that. And with Waddle and Tua and Miami having all those primetime games, I mean, when you watch the Dolphins and Tua, don't you hold your breath? Like,
of course.
Wait, is he gonna get out of the game?
Of course.
So the prime time and with that team, it's a wonder.
All right, DJ, appreciate you. Later, bro. Real quickly, just in the chat, if we could get a little vote on this action right here. Let's see what you guys think. Drop Goff or Knicks in the chat. Do it live. Who's gonna win, Gump or Smitty? We got a bucket of chicken on the line. Who's better? Week 17's end. I'm going to define it now in case there's any sort of confusion. And for anybody that needs to reference where to find this video, it is the AFC East prediction show. Travis, remember this in your noggin, that it was the week we predicted the wins and losses for the Patriots division and talked about Hendy and all that, okay? Drake May. So if you can remember that somehow, if we need to reference this. But the parameters are Mars men QB scoring through week 17's end. Injuries don't matter, anything like that. If Knicks gets hurt, I'm screwed. Bucket of chicken, Gump versus Smitty. Drop your vote. Which side wins? I want to know. Drop Knicks or Goff in the chat. Elgin is dropping one for Goff. We've got a Knicks from Ill Phil. Ill Phil, did you try calling in, Ill? If you try calling in and I missed your call, you can call in again, or maybe you did call in, I forget. Travis, you said Bo knows. Is that your Bo Knicks vote, or is that a Bo Jackson reference?
Yeah.
All right, Bo knows. Knicks easy, says Torres. I like where Torres is at. Knicks 3 to 7 rushing touchdowns. That's the thing that he's not. That's the thing that he's not understanding, is that Bo Nix is running. He's going to make this a cakewalk. He was, as a rookie, he was QB7. He was one spot away. Nix not debatable, says Vader. We got all these Knicks votes here. Goff. Okay, Phil. If I did miss your call, you're happy. You're free to call in. I got Ship says Goff. Elgin says Goff. Cap says Knicks. Jake says Goff. Wow. Got a couple.
On your side, Smitty.
We got Bruce saying Bo Nix. I like the Bo Nix side of this. I mean, look, Goff with Ben Johnson and no changes, I could understand me getting a little overzealous, but it's still working out for me, but barely by the skin of my teeth. But I think right now, he's moving down at least a handful of quarterback spots, and Bo Nix, at the very least, is QB7. So even if he doesn't get better, I think I win this. And if he gets better, I think I win this. Apache says Knicks. Christopher Smith says Knicks. Attaboy, Chris. Yeah, only got 3 votes for Goff.
He'd have to like collapse.
Yeah. I think Goff is borderline top 10, 11. And I think Knicks is comfortably in the top 8. So we're going to go. And Knicks might even crack the Moon Man or Mars Man list before the end of the week. Maybe. We'll see. So this is perfect timing for me. When I threw this out there and I saw a couple people say, take it, Gump, I think they were just saying, take it, Gump, like, accept the damn bet already. But I was thinking initially, wow, does Chad actually like Goff more? But clearly not. Yeah, I think Goff.
What's your thoughts on his? He didn't get a ton of last year. One of the games he got work was that game when they played all 3 of them. Isaiah Davis. All 3 of them were in.
Yeah, I like Braylon Allen. I just think Braylon Allen is remember I did the projections earlier and I said, what did I say? I think I said like 600 is possible, 605. Just because you look at they're talking about a running back by committee vibe, even though they're just saying we have multiple running backs, but if they run the ball, and they're going to run the ball more than anybody in the league but maybe like 1 or 2 teams, and if not, then they'll be the number 1. Let's just say it was a conservative 450 rushing attempts by the Jets. And I know Fields is going to have some too, but I'm talking about the backfield. Well, I guess the entire, let's say it's like 470, the entire offense. So if Fields runs, how many times might Field run the ball? Let's say he runs the ball. What did he do? What did Fields do last year? Because he ran the ball a lot last year. But they gave him no offense, so he had to just carry the team on his back. But Fields attempted to run the ball in 2024 161 times. I don't know if he's going to do. I don't even know if he's going to have that. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Or no, not 161 times. Sorry. 62 times. 162 times. 124, 160 in 2022. The extrapolation is what I was reading, 162. So 62 divided by 6 is 10.3 times 17. That would be 175. I think he probably runs the ball 150 times, maybe. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so minus 150 for Fields. And then that leaves us 320 minus 210 for Brees Hall, or even 200 for Hall. And that equals 110 carries left over. So I could see, all those going to one guy, and then they running the other guy 20 or 30 or 40 times, I guess. So they run the ball more than this. I don't know. Tough to say. I would say that even on 190 attempts for Hall, I'm not concerned at all as long as he gets the receptions. And then you have potentially a 100 and like a 30 to 40 carry attempt player in addition to Braylon Allen running 100 to 120, something like that. So yeah,
So, Fields is a sneaky sleeper quarterback for you too.
Oh well, I mean, Bruce, you just did the breakdown, Bruce. Where have you been? Bruce, there's no person I can count on more to come in and ask a question I've already answered on the live stream. But I love you. I love that about you. But it also makes me giggle, you know.
It's funny because it's kind of like a quadruple quarterback. So it's like, why isn't Fields on there yet?
I like Fields a lot. He's a top, as my projections pointed out, he's probably a top 8 to 12 quarterback lock. If he stays healthy. Just is the rushing he does alone, man. What do we mark up for him? It was like 500 and we said like 5, but it could be 510 TDs or 610 TDs. But I think it was like 500, 550. And I think I put 5 or 6 rushing touchdowns to be safe. But then we said that's his floor. He could get 10 rushing touchdowns. Yeah. All right, Bruce. We'll see you later, bro. Yeah, sounds right. Bruce, we'll see you later, bro. Appreciate you. Tell your mom what's up. We appreciate your mom. For those that don't know, Miss Robertson, I've got Miss Robertson on my soundboard, a picture of her. And when I click on the picture, I have 5 videos that she's blessed this show with. This is number 1.
Neighbor.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Go ahead.
Getting land. Yes, get Jefferson.
All right, you're on.
Get Baris or get Burrow. Either one.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan.
Glory. All right, Bill the Tickler, any final giggles or comments or nuances you'd like to bring to the table before we hang up on you? And I appreciate you being here, and you need to be more often. You're only here really late at night.
I'm always there. I'm always watching. I'm always hitting some of fun. I just don't always.
Okay. Well, we miss you, Bill. We need you.
I appreciate you being there for me. And my hurdles tonight, you changed your number. I hadn't called in a while. So, thanks for accepting my call, Smitty. I appreciate that.
All right, Bill.
But I'm always there because you've been there for me. I would never win my league without you.
All right, I'm going to add you to my phone line as soon as we're done here. All right, so that way I know when you're calling in. All right, bro. We'll see you later. Whatever you do, Bill.
Thanks, Smitty.
Bill. Well, hold on, Bill. Whatever you do.
Smitty, we have another side conversation because I'm working in a new restaurant, and it's newly owned and newly managed. But it's the restaurant you last just needed in, but it's totally different.
What kind of food?
But I came with the lease. I came with the lease, Smitty.
What kind of food?
French.
French?
Salt, butter, cream, cheese. French.
Right.
But it's not small portions. It's the opposite of French. It's not tiny little portions.
He's wasted.
It's oi.
Go drink some water, Bill. Bill, go drink some water.
Oi.
I appreciate you, Bill.
Hey. Go drink some water.
Bill.
Vegas loves Arizona.
All right.
Pretty, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Later. Be safe. That's about as incoherent as we've had Bill for a while, but we need Bill to be calling in here more often. I miss having Bill the Tickler on the phone line. Rock out. Final thoughts. Hello?
I think when it comes to Garrett Wilson, it'll be like a shot up, just like Terry McLaurin had with JD5. Like he had all these 1,000 yards seasons with basically bum quarterback, and now he has a chance to unlock his full potential.
Yes, sir.
No?
Yes, sir. I mean, there's a reason DJ Moore was a top 5 wide receiver when he got Fields found him. Not to mention, you know what nobody talks about a lot is that Fields and Garrett Wilson played together in college. Not something that you hear a lot. They played together in college. This is a rapport that is going to be more than what people think. I mean, they know each other.
Yeah, I think you could have probably 11 to 13 touchdowns.
Definitely. All right, my boy. We'll see you later.
All right, cool.
Travis, final thoughts.
Yeah. Trade one QB at premium. Would you rather have 1.0 or rather have 1.0 with 1 and the 2.01?
I'm wasting my marker. The 1.2 by a mile. All that other stuff is like, hey, you want an accessory? You want a little icing? 1.2 over 1.5. I don't care what you throw at me. 1.12. You could give me the 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. All that. I'm not moving from that 1.2 because I get to control the narrative.
Right.
Yep. This would especially be the case for the one, but
you could get like 2.01.
I mean, so I guess
Harvey with a 1.05.
Yeah, let me work this out because you make a good point, and I always do this. I get overly excited, and then I don't realize how inept people are in the draft. If let's say Harvey, and you probably can't get Harvey here. You get Harvey, and you get Scat, and you get Kyle Williams. I mean, this is an interesting situation. I like it a lot. But I still think, and you might be put in a situation where you think, oh, I've got to go Hampton here, when you actually kind of like Harvey just as much. So I'm not opposed to it if you're guaranteeing me that you get Harvey, which you probably do, but you never know. If you could guarantee me that, I would entertain this, but I mean,
yeah.
What are the odds?
He said he's draftable. Big no one. Indeed, I'll have Harvey.
When's he draft though? Because I know everyone thinks that's the case, but if he drafts, let's say, a month from now, if he drafts tomorrow, then sure, I could understand it. But if he drafts like a month from now, what if Harvey pops off some amazing, run, or does what Bijan did his rookie, where it's one-handed receptions and it just.
He may have had the drafting in August.
Yeah, I don't like Ted McMillan. So if Harvey moved in, but I mean, Hendy probably still is there. I don't know. That changes a little bit because now you can take a tight end like Loveland, or you're guaranteeing Harvey will probably be there if it's tight end premium. But yeah, I guess give me the 1 point. I'm gonna change my mind. I mean, it's good you stuck to your guns on it and asked me again, because truth is, I want Harvey as much as I want Hampton anyway, quietly. And if I could get Scat, or you give me a Dylan Sampson and Scat, or let's say something crazy happens, it's tight end premium and one of the tight ends are there. I doubt they will be at 1.12, but yeah, I go ahead and take the 3 picks, but I'd be very, very cautious about it if it's a running back heavy group, because if it goes bad and somebody gets hurt and you're stuck with not getting Hendy or Harvey, and you're drafting in August, you are not controlling the narrative. So there is a world where you're living in major regret if somebody gets hurt, or if Harvey and Hendy both look so good that this goes well, then you potentially get Hunter. So I guess the worst case scenario is that you get injury to one of these guys, and then all of a sudden you're left with, Ted McMillan, which I wouldn't want. I want one of those RBs. So you're taking a little bit of a risk, but it's not that crazy of a risk. I guess I would say take the 1.5. But
it's a good point. It's not the loss.
I mean, anything could happen. What if one of these RBs tears? What if one of the RBs tears their ACL in a no contact move, and then you've got then Genty, then you have Hunter, then you have Harvey and Hendy go, and then you're picking at 105, and someone's gonna go, well, I'll take Ted McMillan. Well, that's you. I don't like Ted McMillan, so I don't want Ted McMillan. And all of a sudden I think I got screwed. So there is a world where this doesn't work out. But if you guarantee me Harvey, I'm okay with it. All right, Travis, I'll see you tomorrow, bro. See you later.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you're playing with fire either way. Playing with fire that you pass on having Harvey at 5, which you probably get at this point, you do, or Hendy, and then you get this extra stuff. But you are playing with a little bit of fire that if an injury happens to one of the running backs, you are screwed. All right. But yeah, if you end up getting Harvey, Scat, and Kyle, I love it. Thank you all. Thank you, Sick Nasty. Thank you, Space Ricky. Thank you, Blackbeard. Thank you, Travis Rowe. Thank you, DeBalt. Thank you, Vampy. Thank you, Terry Roberts. Thank you. Who am I missing? I think that's all my mods, I believe. I will see you all later. You know how we do it. We're live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday. We're live whenever big news breaks. We go live graveyard style midnight most every night on top of the 8 p.m. show. So it's 8 p.m. Eastern, then it's midnight Eastern, and then it's live whenever big news breaks. Who does that? Nobody but us. That's how we roll. This is your one-stop shop. Appreciate you all. Sim Valley, appreciate you. Ill, Phil, Sick Nasty, Fryer, Bruce, Robeson, all the phone callers today. Thank you guys. Thank you to my super chatters. Oh, I got 2 super chats. Got 2 super chats real quickly. Stay liquid, stay loose. I already read that one. And then Jake, who said, "You know Don." Jake, you still out there? You know Don. You know Don said, this is like, that person that just starts talking about somebody. You have no idea who they're talking about. They're like, yeah, I was talking to Steve. And like, who's Steve? I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about. I was talking to the Don.
Wanted. The top most wanted outlaws. These outlaws are on the run. Wanted. These outlaws are on the run. The most wanted outlaws. 'Cause they're wanted. Dead or alive.